Floodame, but whether or not they're going to be able to get the edge over another fast-moving Pokemon like the Rhydon on the opposing side is yet to be determined, and that can be great information for these trainers to be looking out for.
Yeah, and I think, you know, the tools are there for Wolf. You've got the Incineroar on both sides of the field. The Incineroar is really important for allowing a little bit of alleviation from some of those big threats that have those choice band or choice specs on Dill's side. But I think the Incineroar on Dill's side of the field really gives Wolf a little bit more trouble with that Intimidate because of the physical attackers that he will be leaning into.
That's the thing, that Rhydon really does not want to be unintimidated. We saw how devastating those flare blitzes can be, particularly in the sun, or if you go for that Terravire as well, then you do not want those to be dwindled in damage at all by an Intimidate from the opposing side. The big guy is not like something
last year, and he is back again for this European Championship. Regulation G, it's not working anywhere, and for good reason, but that choice that comes in it provides so much damage, it's such a scary ball. Then the coach is trying to get down, Steve wanted it to look into it and go from there, but you give it a little bit of room, give a corner a little bit of room, it might be too much. We saw Dill come out yesterday, and folks not take their foot off the pedal at all, and the iron tread's definitely something we need to talk about, how impactful that was. With that core drivability, it gets a speed boost, and it is holding that choice band nice. So things like the let's go Wolfe! You need to keep that in check, and then the importance of the Intimidate comes into play as well from the Incineroar on the Wolf side is really important to kind of negate that choice band.
Yes, that Iron Tread is definitely a fan favourite from yesterday, and I wonder if it is going to have some place within this match. As you mentioned, getting that speed boost, we've seen it get from Warp Drive, can be a really critical part in this match. If it's going to be able to find a way to deal with Pokemon like this Floodame. We've also been able to see how devastating it can be with that choice band. The Rhydon, however, on the special attacking side with those choice specs is just as formidable, and when we kind of think about the potential of a Perish Trap mode, if that is maybe something that Wolf will bring to the table, there are so many utility options to avoid that. The Ghost Terrestrializations, the Volt Switches, the U-turns, for example. Really, both these trainers have so many options and utilities to make them flexible in this time.
Yeah, that's it. I think the Perish Trap feels very difficult. Sometimes here we go get to the game 3 maybe, or we get to the game 3 and maybe things switch up, maybe the opportunity is there depending on how it feels, but really come out game 1 with it, I feel like it's not the most optimal, especially if you are scared of that version 2, because yeah, you don't want to take any of those good flows, but necessarily you can't use it and intimidate the power of that, and because of the sack you have to kind of double up into that slot, and this sort of team is still quite those choice fights, if you concentrate too much on one side of the field and leave the other kind of complacent, it can be enough to turn this tide and start a momentum swing for you.
There's only a few moments away. These trainers are locked in and ready. Both these trainers have everything at stake. They want to be able to become the European International Champion. Wolf has been able to do this before previously in North America.
Getting that activation of the photosynthesis, it's going to get the speed boost really useful in the sun. Being set up of that Auracolcum pulse from the Rhydon. Now you've got the Urshifu on the opposite side of the field for Dill. It is putting a lot of pressure on to that Floodame, of course, but neutral damage into it, but it's not the best defensively. And it has got the Sash, so it's got a little bit of security. It is going to be able to avoid the fake out from that Incineroar as well because of course typing, but it has to be careful. You don't want to lose that Floodame too quickly, but you can pressure back on the double up into that Urshifu slot. There is the Flare Blitz risk on the Incineroar on the opposite side. Of course, you don't really want to take a Flare Blitz from the opposing Incineroar into your Floodame, but maybe going after that Urshifu if you really fear it. There isn't a bad play in the Rhydon. Pretty comfortable to sit in front of it.
I think Wolf would like to be able to respond with an Intimidate of his very own with that Incineroar just to try and neutralize some of these threats. A close combat or coming through, or even a Sucker Punch will be devastating. So Floodame getting out of there. If Sucker Punch has been locked in, that is now going to fail into that slot as Incineroar, the great friend indeed, is going to join the field. This Intimidate is going to lower the attack of both the physical attackers on the opposing side and start to maybe have this fake out game going forward. The Incineroar on Dill's side is going to shut down the Rhydon. No offensive pressure coming through on this side. The Urshifu is still yet to move. Go for that wake up blow. The Intimidate is null and void. But the Incineroar being that dark type, the perfect switch in here for Wolf.
Yeah, great switch for Wolf, taking that Wicked Blow really comfortably from the Incineroar, now has the fake out on their side, pressuring down on the Urshifu now to break the opposing sash there, which is so important. And the Incineroar on Dill's side cannot be so safe either, because the close combat boosted by that life, boosted by the sun, it is going to be threatened. Even though the Intimidate's dropped onto that Pokemon, there is the threat of a potential target into that slot. It hasn't got Protect. So you have to be very careful. You can't really easily pivot it out. You've got to be careful if you are bringing something else in on that potential close combat.
Well, Incineroar's going to leave the field just as quickly as it's joined. I think the utility of that Intimidate has been very effective here, as the Fluttermane can rejoin, maybe trying to scope out the sucker punches that are going to come through. Of course, if you're Wolf, you're going to try and break that focus sash on that Urshifu, otherwise it is going to be hanging around. The speed heightened up on Fluttermane's side, so if it is able to hang on in this turn, it's going to be able to apply some pressure going forward. But straight away here in game 1, the Incineroar on Dill's side of the field is going to crystallize into that Ghost type.
Yeah, suspecting maybe a close combat into that slot. The threat of it there, one way to get around it is that Ghost Terrestrialization, and just a detect from the Urshifu wants to preserve that sash, didn't want to lose it to that fake out as the close combat is targeted into that slot. Not want to risk it into the Incineroar. Really smart play here from Wolf, but the U-turn coming out, the pivot is in action. The Incineroar able to get off the field and allow Dill to get something else on. Maybe Miraidon is going to come onto the field, get that electric train set up between that and the Urshifu with that sucker punch in particular. You can get around this speed boost on that Fluttermane, pressure that sash, terrestrialize and put a lot of pressure onto the Miraidon. Not going to be just yet though, it is the Farigiraf.
Truly beautiful turn here for Dill, being able to position that Incineroar in the back for later to keep intimidating down against its opposing Miraidon. And now you have the Farigiraf to play. This is the Pokemon that can maybe switch up speeds. If you go for a Trick Room, considering you know that the Fluttermane and the Miraidon are so offensively fast and you store into a fake that they do have the potential to speed tie as well, switching up the speeds could be very beneficial for Dill.
Yeah, it could be, and I think that's the one thing you have to worry about. Do you commit though if you Wolf into that Farigiraf with a double target, maybe terrestrialize with the Flare Blades, go for that Moonblast into the Farigiraf, hope that it is enough to get it, especially because the electric seed has been activated. Now you are seeing him pivot the Intimidate coming back onto the field. That's going to be pretty important onto that Miraidon in particular, because it is now at -2, so those close combats, those weaknesses aren't going to be hitting anywhere near as hard as they would be, and neutral damage.
Well, Wolf is going to go for the fire terrestrialization on that Miraidon. It has not taken 2 turns to intimidate, but this terrestrialization is going to boost up those fire type attacks in the form of the Flare or Flame Charge. Fluttermane is going to get the shot. This is going to do a huge job in this way. Really putting Incineroar into the danger zone. Miraidon is able to follow up with this Flare Blitz in the sun. It's going to be able to connect down onto the opposing Incineroar.
Yeah, we see the double up into that slot, really smart as well, saying, well, if the Incineroar doesn't come in, I'm going to be able to break the sash with the Shadow Ball anyway, and the Flare Blitz with the sun at -1 will be enough to pick up the knockout on this big threat. It does leave the Farigiraf, of course, the Trick Room, it is going to be able to flip that I mentioned, the Farigiraf in a really nice, comfy position. We know that there is the Urshifu in the back, it will be able to come in, of course, and it's going to underspeed or outspeed in the Trick Room this Fluttermane and the Miraidon. The thing is now that the Fluttermane has got its sash pro, so it's going to be susceptible to being knocked out by a Wicked Blow. Miraidon is taking a lot of damage as well, and you think, is it going to be in range of a close combat? It's going to be very close anyway, and at -2 you might want to start to rethink keeping it out on the field. Is it worth trying to switch something else in, maybe like that Incineroar here to soak up a dog? Wicked Blow, a dog type attack, and drop and intimidate onto that Urshifu.
That's the thing, you don't even need to sucker punch anymore. That Urshifu, I think, is going to be sitting very pretty in the Trick Room for now. It's also been able to shake off that Intimidate by switching out, so unless we're going to bring that back in, moves like the sucker punch or the close combat, I think would be obviously the more optimal one here. We'll be able to hit with full force. The damage coming through from the Psychic is going to put Miraidon in range from anything that Urshifu wants to throw at in the following turn, but
Dill was able to keep that intact, go switch out earlier to come back onto the field, and the Trick Room's up, now able to stick around and crash it with even a Sucker Punch or another Wicked Blow, depending on what comes in from Wolf.
It's obviously unfortunate for the Fluttermane, but even if you protect them to Unseen Fist, it was going to take that damage from Wicked Blow anyway, and at least with the KO, the trade-off is, you've got your Amoonguss in Trick Room. This Pokemon is perfect perfect for this.
Yeah, it is perfect because it's going to underspeed everything it threatens with. Oh, you have to be careful though, because if the Miraidon's lurking in the back of the dill, it comes in, it will set that electric drain, and everything on the ground will have that immunity. So you don't really want to waste the turn. Maybe going for the sludge bomb into that Ursa boost slot isn't a bad idea. There is the protect possibility coming out from that play, or maybe even the switch. So even getting damage onto an incoming Miraidon can be useful. The Miraidon, of course, is going to be hit, risk it picked up by the Psychic, so maybe a switch there into the Incineroar now. It's pretty safe in all accounts. It keeps your Miraidon around for later on when the Trick Room is gone, and it allows you to drop an Intimidate, you have the immunity to the Psychic, and you're able to have an active fake up going into the next turn.
Yes, with no way to change the Trick Room, Wolf does have to commit to playing in this environment, so switching out that Miraidon reserve, because when Trick Room is over, if he's able to get to those turns safely, is a really nice play. Miraidon joins the field, not only does it stop the spores from Amoonguss, but does finally activate that electric seed onto the Trigger Wrap, so it's going to have a defense boost to contend with. Miraidon leaves the field, as we were saying, it's going to try and stay nice and safe in the back when Trick Room is over, but also critically reset those Intimidate drops that it took earlier. The Incineroar is able to join on Wolf's side now, however, the Intimidate not really going to be able to do anything here, and you can't fake out in the next turn either, thanks to the Trigger Wrap being on the field.
Yeah, good call there, and the sludge bomb just going into that Trigger Wrap and just get some damage up and in. Super effective Psychic into the Amoonguss, going to start chipping away at that side of the field. The sunlight has faded now, so their 5 turns have gone, and in turn we're seeing the electric drain hit the field. Like you say, no fake out from the Incineroar as long as that Trigger Wrap, the Armor Tail, is active on the field. So the Incineroar not in the greatest spot to be able to slow that Miraidon down. You do have a Amoonguss with that Rage Powder though. It is something you can take advantage of. The problem in the Trick Room is you pull in a Psychic from that Trigger Wrap, it could be enough to pick up the knockout, and then if the Electro Drift is selected, it will be redirected into the Incineroar, and we know how powerful that choice specs Electro Drift can be under the Electric Drain. Wolf doesn't have a way to get rid of that or remove it from the field, so you're going to have to contend with it. Why we're seeing a Protect come out this turn.
Yes, wise defensive play here on the Incineroar, just trying to give us some longevity on the field as Amoonguss can follow up with another Sludge Bomb, but you can see it's really doing negligible damage, whereas the Psychics are stacking up. Amoonguss so close to being KO'd here. The special defense is going to drop. I don't think there's really any relevance here. Electro Drift was going into the Protect though, so Amoonguss is able to hang around. Obviously it has that regenerator ability, so if Wolf does want to switch it out, it can get some HP back, but then you're going to be exposing your Miraidon. He doesn't want to do that either.
No, definitely not. And there is this almost pin situation here where if you want to activate that regenerability, you're going to be bringing in your Miraidon. It's going to be weak to the Psychic. It's an easy choice for Dill to go for the Psychic into that slot. So you either pick up the Amoonguss now and then force the Miraidon in, the Miraidon in next turn. But the Incineroar is a sitting duck right now. The Electro Drift going to be enough. Yes, you're going to be able to get an attack off, but is it going to be enough to pick up either of these targets? I don't think so from this range.
I really don't feel like Amoonguss and Incineroar, even if they were able to get the double up and bypass the Psychic, would be able to get the KO on the Miraidon. And we know that it is choice bet into that Electro Drift. It's going to be devastating no matter which target it falls into. Having a little look at the selection, Amoonguss playing defensively, just going for the Protect, wants to try and ensure that there will be 2 remaining Pokemon in the next turn. Instead, now the Miraidon free to target down this Incineroar with the Electro Drift. So much damage from the Electric Drift.
Reposition, but the Trick Room does end. You can see why that double protect from the Incineroar would be so useful there. It would have meant when one thing went down, the Miraidon would come back in, and if it does not speed this Miraidon, you don't have to see it again. Because now it is a very good Miraidon. Sacrifice that, put all your bags, eggs in one basket with that Miraidon to try and pick up a knockout on this Miraidon.
The issue, however, is if the Amoonguss goes down, then it's just Miraidon against the remaining Pokemon on Dill's side of the field. Even if you're able to get a KO now, you can't even go for the Flameless thanks to the recoil. That's going to be able to KO the Miraidon in return, so it's kind of limited to the options that it can go for. Yes, the sun is in the sky, so you're going to be able to apply a little bit of pressure there, but unfortunately, I'm not sure it's going to be enough. Amoonguss, however, just goes for a Protect, and Miraidon, you're on your own. You've got to carry this on your own back. As it goes for the close combat, that target's down to the Miraidon. Is in hand. It is, of course, going to have its defenses lowered, but I feel like that is null and void at this point, thanks to the low HP it's gone Miraidon.
first game here, blocking out most options Wolf had there, really pinning him in, especially with the strict returns.
I have to say, I really like the lead that Wolf led. It gave him a lot of utility options about whether he wanted to try and control speed with Icy Wind or maybe try and get some offensive pressure off the Rhydon. But Dill pulled it perfectly, bringing in their own Urshigal and Incineroar to apply pressure in return and force onto the back foot very early doors with fast play.
Yeah, and the thrustalization as well of the Incineroar, I think, although it didn't really pay off in that turn, I think it gives Dill the ability to bring it back in pretty freely after that. We also get out the let's not forget this, Moon gets enclosed as game one.